Hello everyone, welcome to InlineDJ.com's YouTube channel. Today we have the first interview with one of our artists. We have in the studio Briggs from Texas. Hello Harris.
Hello.
Now you might know Briggs as Passive Progressive. He has releases on Fraction, which I have a vinyl here, also on Armada, Black Hole Records, and Infrasonic, among others. And so we're going to ask him a few questions. What brings you to Montreal this time around?
I'm actually studying abroad, studying architecture for 8 weeks, and it's the last studio of my undergraduate, and we just finished, so I actually fly back tomorrow, but I wanted to stop by.
And I hear you do electronic music in your spare time.
Yep, yes, it's just my hobby. Like last semester, just during school, any free time I would have, just open it up. I would go to my friends' houses and everyone would be there working, and I would just be working on something all the time in between breaks, late at night, anytime. Now,
did you just start making electronic music, or did you start making or learning other instruments before? What's your musical background?
I played violin since I was 7 years old, and I played all the way up until I was 19. I played trumpet for 7 years, which I did drum corps, I did jazz band, I did a symphonic band, I did piccolo trumpet, and then as soon as I got to university, I wasn't able to practice in that environment. It wasn't really good for practicing, so I wanted to keep the feel of my musical creativity going, and so I just taught myself. Started to produce and just play around, and I just needed that outlet, and that's how I started.
But what made you change, other than the lack of practice time, what made you change to electronic music in specific and not another style?
Partly because it had to do with the computer. I had been listening to it forever because my brother, he got me into it when I was younger. I just kind of had this love for it because I just liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, for some reason I just like it.
Did you start producing right away, or were you DJing? Perhaps a lot of people start DJing.
For a year or two, I was DJing at a couple of clubs. Like back in 2005, I opened for Andy Moore in Dallas, and it was just DJing, and then I started to produce. But even now, I don't DJ as much. I produce way more. I'm not one of those DJs that flies around the world, superstar DJ, and then, I pay this guy to produce for me. I actually like the producing and the creativity of it. So that's what I do.
Now, when you started producing, did you feel you needed to produce to advance your career, or was it just, like you said before, a continuation of your thing? Do you feel you need to be a producer to be a better DJ, or there's no correlation between
I mean, there's examples on both sides. You have some DJs that are amazing DJs but don't produce, and then you have some of these DJs that became famous because of their productions. For me, I think at the beginning it was maybe part of that. I felt in order to get bigger, I had to start producing. But then as time went on and some of my feelings matured, I guess, towards producing, it just became more about the production and the music rather than, I need to be the biggest, I need to get gigs. I don't care about that anymore. It doesn't matter.
So do you have gigs a lot, or DJ a lot?
No. Nowadays, I don't DJ. I DJ maybe once a year in this club in Dallas, and it's a pretty shitty club, but the atmosphere is really nice just because people are there for the music. It's not just, they're just there for the music. And then when I'm at school, we have these house parties, and I DJ just for fun. It's usually the worst setup. I just bring my laptop, I plug it in, I'm drinking champagne out of the bottle. I'm not even using headphones. I just click on the program and it works, and people don't care anyways. It's about the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So.
And so I'm hearing you say you mix once a year, and then house parties. What's the electronic music scene in Texas like? Because I know there's Francis Prev and Tritonal.
Yeah.
Tritonal. and the others, like Andrew Parsons, I think, is from around your
Yeah.
neck of the woods.
That's a big scene, I think, in Austin. Austin is a really good music scene, not just with electronic music, but indie rock. They have South by Southwest. Dallas is good too. I don't think it's as big as Austin, but I could be wrong. I've actually been out of it for a year or two now. I haven't really paid attention, but yeah, I think it's growing for sure.
Okay, so now that we've established that you're both a DJ and a producer, what would you say is your greatest achievement in electronic music, or maybe in all of music, since you're doing that?
I think achievement was, I mean, it's almost like a story. Like I started off with Hideaway, which is my most successful, you would call it, release, and then that was popular with the Seven Skies and Static Blue remix, and then Above and Beyond did the mashup with the Ocean Lab acapella, and that became a whole nother mashup deal, and with Sky Falls Away, and then it was on Genevieve Volume 8, and then which led to me doing a guest mix for Transfer Around the World, where I play these bootlegs of these local bands, so the Soldier Thread and Person L, which is a project of Kenny Vasoli of the Starting Line, and I did that bootleg, and then he contacted me actually asking for an official remix personally, and so I'm a huge fan of his. That's why I did the bootleg.
Yeah.
It's because I just love his music, and to have a person like Kenny from the Starting Line ask me to do a remix is just, it's a really cool feeling.
Now, when people aren't asking you directly to remix their tracks, how do these things come about? Like you said, Seven Skies remix your track.
Oh yeah.
How did that happen? Or even the Above and Beyond bootleg, did they speak to you, or they say, "Oh, I like this, so I want to do something about it"?
When we first started, when I just met John and David from Seven Skies and Static Blue, we all just kind of, I think, started around the same time. I think David was a little bit ahead of me, but we were just chatting on MSN and things like that, and they had flown down to Australia to collaborate, and they promised me a remix at the time, and I was like, I had this vocal trancer that would be a pretty cool uplifting style, and they agreed to do it, and they sent it back to me, and it worked, and I had no idea about the Ocean Lab mashup until it got played, and somebody told me, hey, you were just on Transfer Around the World again. Oh really? Like, what was this? And they sent it to me. That was a good surprise.
Yeah, it must have felt pretty good. But that feels like it's been a long time since that happened.
Yeah.
In Juna Beats Volume 8.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Have you been doing trance since, or what
I had
are you doing these days?
I had a break, a really long break, and I think it was October. I got in contact again with some old bandmates of mine from this band I was in high school called Airplanes, Justin Hamilton and David Reed, and we had this idea of doing this because they had always been electronic, but in high school it was more electronic, and then they had evolved to this blues feel, but they wanted to kind of combine the two now, and so me and Justin had just started working on electronic music together because he had gone to Electric Daisy Carnival and he was really inspired by all the sounds. And so we had a few demos floating around, and we sent them to David, and he just created like these really awesome pop kind of hooks to them, and he sent us these demos, and we were just really excited, like this could be amazing, and we decided to embark on this album journey where the next 5 months we completely wrote, self-recorded, I produced, I engineered it, I mastered it, Justin's sister did the album artwork, like it was completely in-house, and I did that for 5 months because I was kind of sick of the scene at the time. It's a lot of bullshit, and yeah, so we finished that album, and I'm really happy with it. I'm not so sure about other people's response to it, but as a whole, we feel like we did a good job.
Yeah, no, it was a great album. I've heard it. It's really top stuff. I just want to raise a point that you just said pop, and you just mentioned trance, and the whole everything is becoming shit. It seems the whole trance scene is becoming pretty pop nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, am I wrong, or are you?
But there's a certain quality to it though. Like pop music can have quality, but a lot of the music I hear these days, like the Walmart trance on Beatport, it's just so shallow and cheesy, and the vocals are about oceans and skies and love, and it's depressing, and there's no level of depth to it. You can have pop music that has songwriting, like there's a songwriting aspect to it that I think a lot of music is missing in trance music. It's just, let me create this copycat uplifter track where someone sings on the breakdown and that's it. And I disagree with that. I think.
But don't you think that's what people want? Or?
I think people, yeah, they eat it up, and that's up to the people.
Okay.
That's why I guess it still exists, is because people like it.
Still on the same point, we were discussing earlier. You were saying you were quoting someone, I don't remember who, that the market was perfect right now because you could pretty much produce whatever you wanted. My
friend Dan from high school, he's currently in a bunch of projects. He's more of an engineer, but he was telling me, we were talking about the music scene, and he was telling me it's actually better for musicians right now because everyone has a shot. Everyone has a shot. You don't have to go through this huge process of signing and exposure and marketing, and everyone can do their own thing and put it out themselves. But there's a problem with that. You saturate the market with a lot of shit, and it's a lot of competition. But if you really have a unique idea and a unique sound, you can get out there and you can become popular.
So would you say you have a unique sound or unique thing, like you do your own thing?
I don't know. It's up to other people. I think in some way I do. I always have like these organic instrument sounds mixed with electronic sounds, with songwriting in there somewhere, and it all kind of comes together at different angles.
Now, as you said before, you're pretty good with other instruments, like real instruments and the computer. Do you do everything yourself, or do you have collaborations in the work right now?
I do everything myself, pretty much. Working with people, I just work with Justin, our guitarist. Even if it has nothing to do with him working with me, he has a good, I think, third-person point of view on my music, and he'll tell me, "This is sick, dude," or "I don't like this, I like the earlier version," and he'll tell me that, and I kind of trust him. I learned to trust him. Collaborations, I have 2 tracks with Michael Badal on his upcoming album that he's still working on. He's been working on it for a while. I entered the Circa Survive remix contest. I have a remix for Sindre Ide and his new track called Need Some Help. I have another side project that's just starting. There's a lot of things going on.
I guess the last one is still a secret.
Which one is that?
You said a secret, a sighting.
Oh yeah. It's not. I don't think it's developed enough to kind of announce it. So.
Okay. So I guess that leads me to. I wanted to ask you, are there any artists to check out right now, or who you listen to these days, or who's noteworthy? Who should we check out?
I'm pretty sure. People have probably heard of these. It's not so much like, oh, who's the most underground that you have that you're so hipster that you know of these artists that people haven't heard of. I like the Michael Cassette album. I think that's really unique and pretty cool and fun to listen to. The new Winter Kills is pretty good because there's all these different elements coming. The new Andane Promises, I really was glad to have them come back. And I like crazy shit like Skrillex. I can appreciate it. I saw him at South by Southwest, and he gets a lot of hate but a lot of love as well. And I think that's a sign of a good artist, is with the conflicting views. So.
And last question, do you have any aspirations as where you want to go, maybe musically, or a status that you want to reach in the future? Are you working towards a certain goal?
Just to get out there more. For the longest time, I refused to make a Facebook fan page. I thought it was stupid. I don't have time for this. And then finally I made one, and I noticed people are out there that kind of do enjoy some of the stuff that we do. So I just want to get out there more, kind of interact with people. Personally, I just want to continue to develop my sound and make music that I enjoy, that I like to listen to, and then hopefully other people like to listen to as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for being a part of this interview.
Thank you.
You can check out Harris's SoundCloud page or his Facebook fan page that he didn't want to create. Thanks for being part of the show.
Thanks.